Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. My name is Graham Hughes. Use he, him pronouns. I am the Director of Policy and Advocacy with the Climate Solutions Accelerator in Rochester. Something I'm really looking forward to this holiday season is spending time with family. I'm really excited to meet my brand new nephew. His name's Maxwell. He's just about 2 weeks old. And from every picture I've seen, he is adorable. So I'm really looking forward to that. Um, My organization, the Climate Solutions Accelerator, is a member of Renewable Heat Now. We've been a member for several years and are really, really grateful for all the work that Renewable Heat Now does, and are really excited to be a part of it. In addition to that statewide policy work, we are one of New York State's clean energy hubs, or not, I should say, NYSERDA's clean energy hubs, based in Rochester. And I'm a little biased, but I think we're the best clean energy hub. We did over 70 installations last year of energy efficiency and weatherization upgrades in homes in Rochester, which, from what my colleagues tell me, is pretty good. We also run a collective impact initiative here in the greater 9-county region around Rochester, focused on implementing a regional climate action strategy that brings together all different types of stakeholders from around the region. And we do a lot of other neat things like public and community engagement. We run a program that helps organizations develop sustainability plans. Um, yeah, I think we're doing pretty good work here. But my job is to focus on the statewide policy stuff. So I'm really glad to be with you all tonight. We can go to the next slide. So tonight's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about Renewable Heat Now, just introduce our coalition a little bit. We're also going to talk about the state energy plan, the scope of which has been recently released. We'll talk about our campaign timeline for New York Heat, which is very exciting to me. I think we're going to get New York Heat passed this year. Within that campaign timeline, we'll talk about our some of the work that we've been doing and will do into the new year, our December week of action, which was very successful around the state, as well as our big mobilization in Albany coming up on February 4th. And we'll close out by just talking about how we can mobilize our people to join that February action and all the other good work we're doing. Just as folks are joining, if you could introduce yourselves in the chat, just share your name and pronouns, where you are in the state, and something you're looking forward to about the holiday season. So Renewable Heat Now. I am new to Renewable Heat Now. So Lisa, if there's anything that I miss about Renewable Heat Now, please help me out and fill it in. But Renewable Heat Now is a statewide coalition focused on building electrification. And we are laser focused on building electrification because in New York, the building sector is the highest emitter of greenhouse gases. And so electrifying our building sector would go a really, really long way towards decarbonizing New York. And also to improving the quality of life and the affordability of people's lives. You know, housing is one of the biggest costs that people face, and buildings that are and homes that are electrified have lower energy bills and are just more pleasant to live in, you know. So that's what Renewable Heat Now is focused on. I know we have dozens of organizations in the coalition, of which my organization, the Climate Solutions Accelerator, is one. And we're doing really good work that I think we're really excited to share with you all tonight. So just to hammer this home, buildings are New York's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions from everything from burning fossil fuels for heating, hot water, and cooking, as well as from methane leaks along the gas and fracking distribution system. So that's why we are so focused on buildings. If we can make a dent in reducing emissions in the building sector, we can do a lot to reduce New York State's total greenhouse gas emissions and make our state a better place to live for everybody while protecting the climate. So with that, I will pass it over to Lisa Marshall to talk through some of these details. Specifically, we'll start with the New York State Energy Plan. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Graham. It's so great to have you as part of our campaign, and the Rochester contingent continues to be so strong because of the Climate Solutions Accelerator and all your good work. Just really happy to have you as my co-pilot here tonight. So I just want to start out by saying that Renewable Heat now generated more than 1,000 comments on the state energy plan scope. These were comments about the building portion and how we're going to the need to decarbonize and follow the climate action plan. And I just want to thank everybody and also give you a heads up. So this was comments on the draft scope. And early next year, we'll actually get the final scope of the state energy plan. And then the State Energy Planning Board will release a draft plan. That will be another opportunity to comment, and not only submitting email comments, but there are going to be public hearings all around the state when that plan comes out. We expect those hearings to be next summer. Of course, sometimes things get pushed later. So we're not going to be talking about the state energy plan here for a little bit, but we're going to be focusing on the work in the legislature. But just keep in mind that later this year, the state energy plan process is going to be moving forward, and we're going to need to continue to comment. I'm just so proud of Renewable Heat Now and all of you for getting more than 1,000 comments generated and exceeding our goal of 750. So thank you. And thanks for everybody who commented and shared. Next slide, please. Okay, now on to the main event, the New York Heat Act, which we have been working on for a few years here. And as Graham said, this is the year we're going to pass it. This slide reminds us of our updated sort of key advantages of the New York Heat Act and our key talking points that we're honing in on. Cutting our costs, upgrading our homes, defending our health, and protecting our planet. And I just want to do a quick overview again of how the New York Heat Act does this. Next slide. So our most compelling and important talking point, the most politically salient talking point, isn't about climate change or cutting emissions. It's about cutting costs. And New York Heat Act cuts costs in 3 different ways. The first is it sets a 6% limit on household energy bills. So many New Yorkers, almost a quarter of New York households, are paying more than 6% on their energy bills, and that's considered unaffordable. If we were to cut every household back to 6% of income or less, that would save those households on average $136 a month. And I see I need a space there, which is real money that people can really need to spend on groceries or rent or medicine. And that is the point that we want to keep hammering home over and over again on New York Heat. But there's also 2 more ways that New York Heat saves us money that apply to every household. One is it ends the 100-foot rule gas pipeline subsidy. Right now, when anybody wants a new gas hookup within 100 feet of a gas main, they get it for free, which means we all pay for it. And that total is $200 million a year on average of spending. That goes on everybody's utility bill. And so it would eliminate that $200 million a year. Furthermore, and this is the hardest one to wrap your head around, but it's kind of the most important, or one of the more important points. It ends the gas mandate. Right now, gas utilities have to provide gas by law. That's what utility law says. And that means they have to keep pouring money into the expensive gas system of pipelines, compressors, and other gas infrastructure that not only to keep growing it, but keep maintaining it. For example, taking out old pipes and replacing them with new pipes. Well, over the coming decades, that's expected to be $28 billion. And we pay for that, all of us together on our bills. $28 billion is a massive amount of money to spend on a system that is outdated and we don't want to be using it anymore. So we'll be avoiding, billions and billions of dollars of future spending on gas pipe replacement and gas infrastructure if we end the gas mandate. And a lot of that money can be spent on the solutions such as heat pumps and thermal energy networks that can benefit all of our homes and buildings. So we really want to get good at talking about these cost-cutting talking points as we prepare to talk to our legislators in Albany. And we'll have a training on talking about the bill. at our January Power Hour. Next slide, please. Quickly, we're going to go into the health impacts of burning fossil fuels in buildings are bad, and access to air conditioning prevents health-related illnesses and death. So defending our health is another key talking point. Next slide. Upgrading our homes. Remember that $48 billion, or was it 48, 28? I've already forgotten. Anyway, the billions of dollars we're going to spend on gas pipe replacements. Instead, we could use money to upgrade our buildings by buying people, weatherizing buildings, buying new appliances and new heat pump heating systems for people's homes and buildings. And this is an incredible opportunity to make our homes better, more comfortable, safer, and better for the planet. And so, next slide. And finally, the reason a lot of us are here is because we really are very concerned about the health of our planet and the continued use of fossil fuels. So we're going to be protecting our planet. And for those of us on this call, this is the thing we like to talk about the most. And we need to train ourselves to talk about this the least as we approach our legislators and a lot of the public, because right now, affordability and cost savings are much more politically salient than climate change in this current moment. I'm not saying don't talk about it. I'm saying don't lead with it. Let's talk about the cost savings first and foremost. And know your audience. If your audience is interested in climate, we can really hammer home the climate. But if your audience isn't a climate audience, you want to talk about it, but you don't want to lead with it. And again, we'll do a training on talking about the bill effectively at our January Power Hour. So I'll have people much better than me teaching you how to really use those talking points and make a convincing argument on NY heat. I know none of you need to be convinced. Okay, next slide, please. So here's our timeline. You've seen this before, but it's been a bit updated. Here we are. It's the end of December, and this timeline says recruit and plan for February 4th mobilization. And that's one of the main key things we're going to talk about tonight. And if you look forward to January, we now know that the state of the state is going to come out, is going to happen on January 14th. And the governor's budget, the executive budget, is going to come out on January 21st. So once the governor sort of shows her hand she's holding her cards very close to her chest right now, and we don't know what she's going to do. What we're asking her to do is put the full New York Heat Act into her budget. We may get a heads up on the 14th if she has done that, and we will certainly find out on the 21st when her budget comes out. Right after that, we'll have our January Power Hour, and we'll have so much more information to share with you about the strategy moving forward, because we'll know a lot of things we don't know now. One of the things we'll know then is whether the governor puts it in her budget. Another thing we'll know is who's going to be the new assembly sponsor for New York Heat, because Pat Fahey, Assemblymember Fahey, is now in the Senate, and that bill needs to be reassigned. And so there's a lot of assembly members who put their name in the hat asking to be the lead sponsor for this bill, and we don't know who will be picked, and we have very little ability to influence that process. So but we will know that by the next Power Hour, and that will really help inform our strategy going forward. We'll have two really key pieces of information. There may also be some updated language in the bill that I think will help to answer some of the questions people may have about the bill. And so we'll explain all of that to you at the January Power Hour. You won't want to miss that. And then you may be a little surprised that our rally and lobby day is on February 4th, because we kept telling you that it was going to be in January. When the when the legislative calendar came out, we learned that the date we had chosen is not a session day. And what that means is that senators and assembly members won't be in Albany on that day. So it makes no sense for all of us to go to Albany and spend the whole day there if the legislators aren't there. So we had to quickly regroup and find another date. And that date is Tuesday, February 4th. So I'm not going to go into the rest of this timeline, but basically, after the governor's budget comes out, then we're really pressuring the legislature to put New York Heat in the one house budgets, the separate budgets that come from the Senate and the Assembly. And that's what we're going to be pushing for so hard at our mobilization day on Tuesday, February 4th. So we really want to get New York Heat into all the budgets. And that way, when the three-way negotiation happens on the final budget, we have a strong chance of having New York Heat in the final budget. The reason we do it in the budget is it's just practical. It's a very hard bill to pass. It's and so legislators generally prefer, and the governor prefer to put such bills into the budget to help get them passed. It's kind of an expediency thing more than anything else, and that's what we have been trying to do, and the last 2 years have gotten heartbreakingly close to doing. So, but this year, as Graham said, is the year we're going to win. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, I wanted to do a quick review of the December week of action. In short, it was amazing. It was hugely successful. We had 12 actions, only half of which are shown on this slide. We had actions for a full week from Wednesday to Wednesday. The last one was yesterday in Long Island. The goal was to show the governor and the legislature the depth and the breadth of this movement across geography, across race and class, across all the demographics, and try to get legislators to stand up with us to demand that this bill go in the budget, and to make sure that the media covered it, because we know that that's one of the biggest ways to influence the governor. We were massively successful in all of those goals, and I'm going to share with you a document that has all of the, or most of the media hits that have come out, but the media coverage was, on the whole, really fantastic. And it will help if you will share some of those media hits on social media and with your legislators that, um, you might not want to share every one. There was one kind of not great news story on Spectrum, but most of the stories were really, really great. And just so much appreciation to all of the media folks that helped pitch these stories to outlets across the state, and to all of the advocates that helped, recruit for these events and go to these events. It was a really fantastic way to finish out the pressure on the governor at the end of 2024. And I'm just so grateful to all of you for who participated in one way or another. It was just beautiful to see. Okay, next slide. All right. So as I've mentioned many times, we are focusing on the governor, and part of our message right now is, hey, we just had an election. There is a climate denier headed to the White House. His number one goal is drill, baby, drill. So it's really up to the states now, and blue states like New York can really make an impact. New York's economy is if it was a country, it would be the 11th biggest economy in the world. A lot happens here. We burn a lot of fossil fuels here. So what we do in New York can make a difference, and can be really meaningful. Last time um, this president was in office, we passed the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act and showed our leadership in climate. And now we need to really drive that home by implementing the climate plan this time around, and we can do that. Okay. Now I would like to go to the next slide. How are we going to influence? So sorry, on the last slide, what I meant to say, and I forgot, is keep calling and emailing the governor, because the first step is to get the governor to put it into her budget. And we've got a link, which I'll pop in the chat, or maybe it's already there. I'll check to generate those phone calls and emails. to the governor, and ask a friend to email too. Sending an email is not a scary action. Anybody can do it. Okay, next slide. All right, so getting ready for our big action on February 4th. If you have come to our past couple of actions in the past couple of years, they've been really incredibly moving, meaningful, and impactful. Last January, we had between 350 and 400 advocates gathered on the $1 million staircase. We had dozens of lawmakers lined up to speak at our event. It was a really fantastic day, and we need to do it again. So, how are we going to do that? Let's go to the next slide. So, oh, here's the schedule of the day. Um, we had to scramble. We had a nice space reserved for you guys for January 29th, but then when we had to move it to February 4th, we were not able to reserve a space. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet at the food court off the concourse. That's outside of security. Mary, I think that may be a problem on your end. I think everyone else is seeing the slides. And that's where you're going to have lunch and meet with your lobby team. After that, we're going to leave and go through security to make our way into the Capitol building. That takes time to get hundreds of people through security. So we're going to start leaving actually before noon and go through security, go into the Capitol building and up to the $1 million staircase, where we're going to have a rally at 12:30. And we're going to rally for about 45 minutes on the staircase. So please wear comfortable shoes and comfortable clothing. It is not so easy to stay on that staircase for 45 minutes. And then we're going to break out into our lobby teams and go and have meetings with legislators and wrap up the day around 4 o'clock and get back on the buses. One of the ways that we're going to try to make sure that we have a really good day on February 4th is we're providing a lot of buses. This is going to be the most buses we've ever done for one of our actions. Let's look at the next slide to talk about the buses. We are providing 4 buses. One from Brooklyn that departs at 7 a.m. at Barclay Center across from Old Navy. This information will all be sent out to you. The second from Manhattan at the Normal Place at the TikTok Diner. So I think that's 34th Street. This year we're going to do something new. We're going to have a bus departing from AEA in the Bronx, and then making 2 stops, one in Croton at the Park and Ride and one in Kingston at the Park and Ride. So we can try to pick up Rockland and Westchester folks and Dutchess and I can't think of the other county. Well, Orange County, Dutchess County, etc. folks. And so that, you can all ride the bus, make an easy day, and we're going to, do a lot of good work on the bus too, prepping for the day as well. And then, yes, Ulster, thank you, Anshul. The county was escaping. The name of the county was escaping me. The last bus we're going to try to do is we're going to try to depart Buffalo, make stops in Rochester and Syracuse. If not, if we don't get enough Buffalo signups, we might make an adjustment on that, but let's assume that that's what we're going to do. If you want to, if your group, if you can get together a group from Binghamton or Long Island or the Adirondacks, and you guys want to rent a van, we can provide funds for that. You probably have to rent it and get reimbursed, but just contact us. We want to make it as easy and seamless for you as possible to get to Albany on the 4th. So don't hesitate to reach out. We've done that before and it's worked out great. We're happy to help. Next slide, please. Okay. So I thought I was going to have a way for you to sign up for phone banking. I'm just going to check and see if it's in our Action Network yet. In order to fill these buses up and get a good bunch of people, we need volunteers to help us to call all the people who've come to our previous actions and invite them to come. We're also going to need to call the people who have already signed up for this action before the bus information was in there and make sure that they know about the buses and that they're signed up for the buses. So we have I'm hoping I'll have a sign up to share with you um, to do phone banking with us through our lists. I don't see it here, but I will email it out to you. Basically, we're going to phone bank every Tuesday night or afternoon, 4 to 6. And we're hoping people will sign up for at least one shift. So maybe the first one is be helping call people who came to our previous mobilizations and the people who've already signed up. The second one will be making calls maybe to the list of people who haven't come but are on our email list. And then towards the end of the month, we'll be calling people, who've signed up to remind them to come, make sure they're still coming, etc. So these phone calls are a very important organizing tool, and many hands make light work. So we're really hoping that you'll sign up and join us for that. I also have the link to sign up for the January Power Hour where we're going to prep for February 4th. And I'm going to drop that link into the chat for you now. That's January 23rd. And then, of course, there's the sign up for the 4th for those who haven't signed up yet. I'm going to drop that. So this link that I'm just dropping now into the chat is the Zoom registration for the next Power Hour. Um, this link that I'm dropping next is the sign up for the Albany mobilization on February 4th. And then the last link I'm going to drop for you is the call and email link for Governor Hochul to ask her to put it in her budget because her showing leadership by putting New York Heat in the budget is really going to be the strongest way to go into the rest of the session. Her leadership is absolutely vital. I'm sorry, I don't seem to have oh, somebody is now texting me the sign up for the phone banking. If you want to hold on one more minute, I said we would stop at 7:30, but I now have the event how am I going to get this from my text? No, it doesn't look like I have it. It doesn't look like it's working. I'm also going to share with you one more link, and this is a link that I hope that you will keep handy, maybe bookmark, which is our link tree. So we try to keep the link tree up to date, and as soon as I have that phone banking link, I will add it to the link tree. So if you have the link tree, which you can also find on our Instagram account on our bio, you'll always have sort of the latest actions. All right, let me just try one more time to find, and Lorenzo, maybe turn it back over to Graham to close us out while I search for this last action. And I apologize for not having it. I thought I was going to have it for you guys tonight.
Thanks, Lisa, and thank you, Lorenzo. And thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please feel free to reach out to Lisa or to myself or anyone else with Renewable Heat Now at any time. I am personally getting ready for a couple weeks of rest and relaxation over this holiday break before we really get to work. And there is a lot of work still to be done, even though we are so close to getting New York Heat passed. It's going to be a busy January, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to go really well. So yeah, thanks everybody for being here, and have a restful and restorative holiday.
And Graham, I just was able to add that phone banking link. So it's the last link in the chat. so maybe we can just stay on for a couple of more minutes. Thank you so much, Graham. Thank you to Lorenzo from the NYCP team who ran the slides and the back end. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight, and we'll really look forward to taking a break. Hope you shut down your phone and your computer, as I intend to do, and we'll really stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you all um, in January with lots of exciting things ahead of us.
That's right. Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you.